Come in and have a little sip of coffee with me. It's great to see you today and great to have you with us, and we're thankful that you're able to be with us by means of YouTube, and I pray that you'll maybe get something from the lessons. That was good. Sometimes there is a tendency or a temptation to romanticize suffering. You know, even there are times when we will compare trials with one another, as if being a victim were a matter of one-upmanship. No one fully understands the full extent of another person's pain. You may think you do, but you don't. You don't know what that woman's going through, or that man's going through. You don't know the loneliness that she is facing, or the heartache that he is facing. People who have never experienced major setbacks sometimes think, well, her hurts can't be real. They're not legitimate. She's not sincere. T.S. Eliot wrote, all cases are unique, very similar to others. But you and I know that suffering is universal. Suffering does not prove atheism correct. But the suffering in our world sure gives the atheist and the agnostic, and even the Christian for that matter, at times reason to doubt, where's God? What is God doing when this tsunami hit? What is God doing when this hurricane? And on we go. But you and I know there are no guarantees in life. Remember the song, R.E.M., everybody hurts. Suffer. Maybe your children, maybe your family, maybe your church, maybe your husband or your wife. Multitudes of reasons. Pain is unavoidable. It's not a question if. It's a matter of when. And sometimes, of course you and I know this, it takes a catastrophe. Sometimes for to get our attention. Sometimes we're just cruising along and everything's just wonderful. And sometimes when you hear something horrible, you know, we talk about building character in the book of James. We talk about the joy and the perseverance and everything else. But sometimes when the hurricanes come, it gets our attention. The constant pain. Don't tell me, you know what I'm feeling. Don't tell me you know what I'm going through. There's emotional suffering. But of course the question is, why does God allow suffering? I think maybe a better question that I'm learning to ask is, what can I learn from this? What can I learn from all this suffering, from this pain? What can I take away? C.S. Lewis, you remember what he said? You remember that wonderful little statement that you like? Pain, suffering, God's megaphone to raise a deaf world. Flannery O'Connor. He says, violence is capable of returning my character to reality and preparing me to accept the moment of grace. Sometimes with these old hard heads, it takes us a while to understand, to get it through. Where is God? What does God do? God's on his throne. And everyone hurts. And of course we go back to the Garden of Eden as the result of sin. Tragedy, heartbreak, addiction, resentment, bitterness, loneliness, disappointment. It hurts. It hurts. And you pray. That this young lady told me she has prayed for years for a husband. She's got 3 dogs, and she says, I pray every single day for a good man to come into my life. Someone that I can get involved with. She hadn't been to church for a couple of years, and I talked to her recently, and she said, I found that good man, but he wasn't such a good man. She said he was a control freak. And she said, I couldn't open my mouth, I couldn't do a thing, and he finally packed up his bags and left. What do you do when there are feuds, when there are fights? What do you do when you feel insecure and in pain? What do you do when the bitterness sets in? What do you do when the disappointments and you cry out in pain? Listen, your pain is as real as mine. And we need to turn the question. And we need the message is not for suffering and conflicted people to give answers. Listen, we need to look at everything that's going on in our lives through the lens of Calvary. Calvary. Jesus on the cross meets us in our suffering, our conflict. And he didn't promise to take the pain away, but he promised to be with us until the very end. John 13 verse 1. And he's saying to us in essence, our hope is not in Jesus plus something else. He's telling us that our hope is in Christ Jesus, and he will not disappoint us. He will not let us down. He will not turn away from us. He doesn't say, your case is too hard for me. Jesus, it's not Jesus plus an explanation. It's not Jesus plus an answer. It's Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. I am the way. I am the path to God. I'm the key to all your anxiety and problems. The theology of the cross as opposed to the theology of glory. God is present in my suffering. God is present in victory rather than defeat. And we worship a God who suffered himself, who knows what it's like to be rejected, who knows what it's like to be cast aside. He loves you. He wants you in heaven. And Lord willing, we're going to continue this lesson on suffering and where is God and what is God doing about it. May God bless you. I hope you're as blessed as I am.